The Wim Hof Method by Wim Hof. Picture this. It's 1959 in the Netherlands, and a woman has just given birth to a baby boy. Exhausted, she's wheeled back to her room to rest. But something feels off. There's this nagging sensation deep in her gut that won't go away. When she mentions it to the doctors, they brush her off with a casual, "Oh, that's just aftershocks from the delivery." But she knows better. She knows her own body. And as the feeling intensifies, she starts screaming for the nurses. Chaos erupts. The medical team realizes with horror that there's another baby still inside her, fighting for survival. As they rush her down the cold hospital corridor toward the operating room, this deeply religious woman makes a desperate bargain with the universe. "Please, God," she cries out, "let this child live, and I promise you I'll raise him to be a missionary." And just like that, in that sterile hallway mere steps from the operating room, a second baby boy enters the world. He's purple and gasping, having nearly suffocated. That tiny fighter was Wim Hof. Now here's the twist. He never became the kind of missionary his mother envisioned. But somehow, that deathbed promise wove itself into the fabric of his destiny. He became a different kind of messenger entirely, one on a mission to reveal the extraordinary power sleeping inside every single human being. Fast forward to today, and Wim Hof has earned himself the nickname the Iceman, and trust me, he's earned it. This guy has scaled Mount Kilimanjaro, wearing nothing but shorts. He's jogged a half marathon barefoot through Arctic temperatures and completed a full marathon across the scorching Namib Desert without touching a drop of water. Oh, and he stood submerged in ice for almost 2 hours without his core temperature budging. For the longest time, scientists wrote him off as either a circus performer or a genetic anomaly. But here's what Wim understood that they didn't. He wasn't special at all. The incredible strength, vitality, and joy he'd discovered weren't unique gifts bestowed only on him. They were our collective inheritance, just waiting to be awakened. His book, The Wim Hof Method, isn't just a highlight reel of impossible stunts. Think of it as a treasure map, leading you back to capabilities you already have, but have forgotten about. Over the next half hour, I'm going to walk you through that map. We'll explore how 3 beautifully simple elements, cold exposure, conscious breathing, and mindset, can unlock a level of control over your body and your life that might sound like science fiction. But this isn't about transforming into a superhero. It's about becoming fully, vibrantly, authentically human. Let's start with a truth that might sting a little. In our modern world, we've cocooned ourselves in comfort. We've got climate control, keeping our homes at perfect temperatures, layers of clothing protecting us from the elements, and we've basically engineered away every environmental challenge our ancestors faced daily. Sounds great, right? Well, not so fast. Wim argues that in making our lives so cushioned and easy, we've actually made ourselves fragile. All that ancient physiological machinery that kept our ancestors alive in brutal conditions, it's dozed off. Think of it like a muscle you never use. Our natural resilience has withered away. And in its place, a surge in chronic diseases, anxiety epidemics, and this weird feeling of being disconnected from our own bodies. Those cardiovascular diseases killing more people than anything else? Wim sees them as a side effect of our comfortable existence. So how do we wake everything back up? Wim's journey started not in some high-tech lab, but on an ordinary winter day in an Amsterdam park. He was 17, squatting in abandoned buildings, diving deep into yoga and philosophy, searching for something more meaningful than the conventional life path laid out before him. One quiet Sunday, he noticed a thin sheet of ice covering a pond. Something about it called to him. Looking around to make sure no one was watching, He stripped down and slipped into that freezing water. What happened next changed everything. Sure, there was shock and pain, but underneath that was something unexpected. Curiosity. And then this incredible wave of euphoria. This rush that made him feel more alive than he'd ever felt. He stayed in for maybe a minute, but when he climbed out, he felt absolutely electric. That single moment birthed the Iceman. It revealed the first pillar of his method, cold exposure. Wim returned to that pond every single day for the next 25 years. He wasn't chasing world records or fame. He was learning, experimenting, having a conversation with the cold. He calls it a merciless but righteous teacher. The cold doesn't care about your anxieties, your ego, or your to-do list. When you step into freezing water, you're yanked into the present moment, with zero room for mental chatter. You just are. What he discovered is that cold exposure is like a master key to our dormant physiology. Consider your vascular system for a moment. You've got about 62,000 miles of blood vessels inside you right now. These vessels are lined with tiny muscles designed to contract and expand, regulating your body temperature like a sophisticated thermostat. But because we're constantly bundled up and living in heated spaces, these muscles have gotten lazy. They're not getting their workout. And who suffers? Your heart, which has to work overtime to pump blood through this sluggish system, leading to chronic stress on your most vital organ. So what's the workout? Wim has this saying, a cold shower a day keeps the doctor away. It sounds almost too simple to work, but this is your entry point. Here's his beginner protocol, and it's gentler than you might think. You don't dive into an ice bath on day one. You just finish your normal, comfortable shower with 15 to 30 seconds of cold water. That's literally it. Yes, your body will gasp initially. That's normal. You just breathe through it. What's happening beneath the surface is that all those millions of tiny vascular muscles are waking up, contracting, strengthening. The progression is straightforward. Week 1, 30 seconds of cold to end your shower. Week 2, bump it to a full minute. Week 3, a minute and a half. By week 4, something almost magical occurs. The cold isn't nearly as shocking anymore. Your vascular system has toned up like you've been doing squats for your blood vessels. Your resting heart rate will have dropped by 15 to 30 beats per minute, meaning your body is under far less stress around the clock. You feel more energized because your blood flow is more efficient, delivering nutrients and oxygen to your cells better than before. You're beginning to take conscious control over a system that science insisted was completely automatic. You're proving to yourself that mind over matter isn't just a motivational poster quote. For those of you suffering from perpetually cold hands and feet, Wim offers a simple experiment. Fill a bucket with ice water and plunge your hands or feet in for 2 minutes. At first it's painfully cold, but then something remarkable happens. Your body, working to protect the tissue, opens up the blood vessels wide, and a flood of warm blood rushes into your extremities. They actually start feeling warm. You're retraining your body's natural heating system. But cold exposure was just the first door Wim opened. As he spent more time in icy water, he noticed his body had an involuntary reaction, this deep, powerful gasp for air. This observation led him to the second, and possibly most powerful pillar of his method, conscious breathing. He thought, what if I did this breathing deliberately, outside of the cold? So he started experimenting. He'd lie down somewhere safe and comfortable, never in water, that's crucial, and take 30 to 40 deep, powerful breaths. Inhaling fully, filling his belly first, then his chest, then feeling it in his head, and then just releasing it. Not forcing the exhale, just letting it go like a wave washing back from the shore. He describes feeling tingling sensations, a bit of lightheadedness, as his body flooded with oxygen and released carbon dioxide. This process shifts the blood chemistry, making it more alkaline. And this is where things get really interesting. After that final exhale, he would simply stop. Not breathe at all. He'd hold his breath with empty lungs. And because his body was in this alkaline state, the urge to breathe, which is actually triggered by carbon dioxide buildup, not oxygen deprivation, was dramatically reduced. He could comfortably hold his breath for a minute, then 2 minutes, then far longer than he'd ever imagined possible. During this breath retention, something profound happens inside you. The primitive, ancient part of your brain detects the oxygen drop and triggers a kind of reset. It activates your adrenal axis, flooding your body with adrenaline in a controlled, intentional way, resetting your body's chemistry and breaking through its normal, conditioned limits. When the urge to breathe finally comes back, you take one deep recovery breath, hold it for about 15 seconds, and feel this incredible energy surge through your entire body, right up to your head. People report seeing lights, colors, feeling waves of bliss or profound peace. Wim believes this is you tapping into your own internal pharmacy, possibly even affecting the pineal gland, what some ancient traditions call the third eye. You repeat this breathing and retention cycle 3 or 4 times, and in just 20 minutes, you've completely transformed your body's biochemistry. You flushed out what Wim calls the biochemical residue, left behind by stress, reduced inflammation throughout your system, and rebalanced your nervous system. It's like hitting a reset button for your entire mind-body system. The optimal time to do this? Morning, before breakfast, on an empty stomach. This allows your body to focus all its energy on the practice rather than digestion. Wim famously punctuates this teaching with a simple, powerful command: breathe, motherfucker. It's his way of cutting through all the overthinking. Should I breathe through my nose or mouth? Is my diaphragm moving correctly? And getting straight to the heart of it. Just do it. Stop analyzing. Feel. The breath is life force itself, and it will guide you if you let it. He even claims you can cure a hangover in 20 minutes with this technique. A hangover is essentially your body in a state of toxicity and acidity. The breathing alkalizes your blood and helps your body process those toxins rapidly. His own daughter Laura, who rarely drank and wasn't into his methods, called him one morning with a crushing hangover, unable to function at work. Reluctantly, she tried the breathing exercises she'd watched him do her whole life. 20 minutes later, her headache vanished, and she was back at work, suddenly a believer. The power of this breathing extends far beyond hangovers. Wim proved this by leading a group of 26 people up Mount Kilimanjaro. These weren't elite athletes. Many had no climbing experience, and some were dealing with serious health issues like MS and cancer. Normally, this climb takes 5 days or more to allow proper acclimatization and avoid potentially fatal altitude sickness. Using specific breathing protocols, Wim's group reached the summit in just 44 hours, absolutely shattering expectations and leaving medical experts scratching their heads. They proved that by consciously breathing more than you think you need to, you can provide your body with enough oxygen to perform even in the most extreme environments. For athletes, this breathing creates a surge in ATP, the energy currency of your cells. More oxygen equals more ATP, which means more energy, better endurance, and faster recovery. He offers a simple experiment to prove it. First, do as many push-ups as you can normally. Then do 1 round of the breathing exercises and try again during the breath hold phase, with empty lungs. Most people are shocked to discover they can do double, sometimes triple the number of push-ups without feeling exhausted. This brings us to the final and arguably most important pillar of the Wim Hof Method, the one that holds everything else together: mindset, or what he also calls commitment. The cold is a force of nature, The breath is a powerful tool, but it's your mind that directs them both. It's your commitment that gets you into that cold shower when your comfortable ego is screaming at you to stay cozy. It's your focus that guides you through the breathing when your mind wants to wander off to your shopping list. For years, the scientific establishment dismissed Wim's abilities as impossible flukes. They labeled him a genetic freak, a 1 in 7 billion anomaly. This is where the story shifts from mountains and icy ponds into the sterile world of laboratory testing. Wim knew he had to prove that anyone could do what he did. His entire mission depended on it. The ultimate test came at Radboud University in the Netherlands. Scientists proposed injecting him with an endotoxin, basically a dead component of E. coli bacteria, which had consistently triggered a strong immune response in every single previous test subject. Fever, chills, headaches, and violent shivering, basically artificial flu symptoms. It was a guaranteed way to trigger inflammation. They wanted to see if Wim could actually resist it. They injected him with the bacteria. For the next hour, Wim lay on the hospital bed and simply did his breathing exercises, and he felt absolutely nothing. No fever, no headache, no chills. The doctors were stunned. His blood tests revealed he'd produced massive amounts of anti-inflammatory proteins and had nearly completely suppressed the inflammatory response. He had consciously, willfully taken control of his immune system, something medical textbooks declared impossible. But the critics had ammunition remaining. He's just one person, an N of 1. It doesn't prove anything. So Wim made a bold proposal. He told the researchers, "Give me a group of ordinary people off the street. I can teach them to do the same thing in just a few days." They were deeply skeptical, but they agreed to the experiment. Wim took 12 healthy young men to his training camp in Poland. For 4 days, he trained them in his method: the breathing, the mindset work, and cold exposure, including a trek up a snowy mountain wearing nothing but shorts and shoes in freezing temperatures. After just 4 days of training, the 12 men returned to the university hospital. One by one, they were injected with the same endotoxin that had made countless others miserable. And just like Wim, not a single one of them got sick. Their blood results mirrored his almost exactly. They had all learned to consciously influence their immune and nervous systems. In that moment, scientific understanding shifted. The results were published in prestigious journals like Nature and the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. Wim Hof was no longer a circus act. He was a teacher. He had proven that this incredible power wasn't his unique gift. It belonged to everyone. This scientific validation forms the foundation of the third pillar. Your mindset isn't just about positive thinking or affirmations. It's about possessing deep-seated confidence that comes from knowing, not just believing, but truly knowing, that your body has these incredible capabilities. It's the conviction that allows you to face the cold not as an enemy to be feared, but as a teacher to learn from. This brings us to the emotional core of Wim's story, the driving force behind his relentless mission. Wim was deeply in love with his first wife, Olaya. She was vibrant, beautiful, and the mother of his first 4 children. But over time, a darkness began consuming her from within. She fell into a crushing depression that no medication, no therapy could reach. In 1995, after kissing her children goodbye, Olaya took her own life. Wim was left a single father to 4 young children, with no money and a shattered heart. The pain was overwhelming, almost unbearable. He felt completely powerless to help the person he loved most, and that feeling of helplessness became rocket fuel for his life's mission. What brought him back from the edge of that grief? He says it was 2 things: his children, who gave him a reason to keep going, and the cold water. He explains, "The cold water brought me back into reality. Instead of being swept away by my broken emotions towards stress and sorrow, the cold water led me to stillness. Stillness of the mind. That gave my broken heart a chance to rest, restore, rehabilitate. This is why his mission cuts so deep for him. He witnessed firsthand how modern medicine failed to address the darkness of the mind and spirit. He believes with absolute conviction that the tools to combat depression, anxiety, and trauma aren't found only in pharmaceutical bottles but within us. The method offers a natural, drug-free way to regulate mood, find peace in mental stillness, and reclaim control from what he calls the real terrorists within. The book overflows with stories of incredible transformation. There's Henk van den Berg, a blacksmith so crippled by rheumatoid arthritis he could barely walk, who after a single breathing session banged out 40 push-ups without pain. There's Anna Chojnaka, a mother of 3, who was told by doctors that her MS would land her in a wheelchair within 5 years, who then joined Wim's expedition and summited Mount Kilimanjaro. These aren't just feel-good anecdotes, they're demonstrations of what the human spirit can accomplish when it's given the right tools. Wim's vision extends even further, right into the code of our biology. He talks about freeing our ancestral burden. The concept is that trauma and stress can be inherited across generations, encoded into our DNA as genetic predispositions. But if we can learn to influence our gene expression right now, by controlling inflammation and activating our body's natural healing mechanisms, we might be able to break that chain. We can potentially heal not only ourselves but also choose not to pass that burden on to our children. We can influence our genetic destiny. Finally, Wim speaks of going beyond the 5 senses. He's talking about interoception, the sense of your body's internal state. The breathing and cold exposure sharpen this sense dramatically, making you acutely aware of what's happening inside you. You learn to feel your heartbeat in your fingertips, to sense energy flowing through your body. This isn't mystical woo-woo, it's a sharpening of your neural pathways. It's the ultimate mind-body connection made tangible. In the end, Wim's message is one of profound empowerment. He's not positioning himself as some guru demanding blind faith and obedience. He's a guide, pointing you back toward yourself. He's showing you that the pharmacy, the power, the peace you're searching for already exists inside you. We are all, as he loves to say, kings and queens of our own kingdom. And this method, the cold, the breath, the mindset, is simply about reclaiming your crown. As we take a step back and look at the Wim Hof Method as a whole, it's easy to get caught up in the world records and groundbreaking science. But the real power of this book, in my view, lies in its beautiful and profound simplicity. In a world constantly telling us the solution to our problems exists outside ourselves, a new pill, a new gadget, a new productivity hack, Wim Hof's message is a radical return to self-reliance. It's a reminder that the human body isn't some fragile, flawed machine destined to break down. It's a resilient, adaptable, incredibly powerful organism with deep, innate intelligence. We've just forgotten how to listen to it. What I find most compelling is that this isn't a philosophy based on blind faith. It's a practice. It's experiential. Wim doesn't ask you to just believe you can control your immune system. He says, here, try this. Do the breathing. Step into the cold. See for yourself. The method provides tangible feedback almost immediately. You feel the energy surge from the breathing. You feel the resilience you're building against the cold. The proof isn't in some textbook. It's in your own lived experience. This approach serves as a powerful antidote to the sense of helplessness so many people feel today, especially around health. We're often told our conditions are chronic, our genes are our destiny, and our best hope is symptom management. Wim's work challenges that entire paradigm head-on. It suggests we can be active participants in our own healing. The stories of people reversing autoimmune disease symptoms, alleviating chronic pain, and overcoming deep depression aren't just inspiring. They're revolutionary. They offer genuine hope where there was none. So how can you start applying this? It might feel overwhelming, but the beauty of the method is its scalability. You don't have to climb a mountain in your shorts tomorrow. Here are a few simple, practical steps you can take today. First, make a pact with yourself to try the cold shower challenge for just 1 week. Tomorrow morning, after your usual warm shower, turn that knob to cold for just 15 seconds. That's all. Just 15 seconds. Breathe calmly through it. The next day, try for 20 seconds. See it not as punishment, but as a game, a way to wake up your body and mind in a way coffee never could. Notice the clarity and energy you feel afterward. Second, find a quiet moment today to try one single round of the breathing exercise. Lie down on your bed or the floor. Take 30 deep breaths. Hold after the final exhale until you feel the urge to breathe return. Then take your recovery breath. Just one round. Pay close attention to the shift in your physical and mental state. It's a powerful way to hit the reset button on stress in just a few minutes. Ultimately, Wim Hof's message is one of liberation. It's about liberating ourselves from self-imposed mental limits, from the conditioning of a society that's taught us to fear discomfort, and from biological burdens we may have inherited. It's a call to action to stop being a passive passenger in your own body and step into the driver's seat. To become, as he would say, the alchemist of your own life, turning the raw materials of breath and cold into the gold of health, strength, and happiness. That was the book summary of the Wim Hof Method by Wim Hof. We've journeyed through the core of his incredible story and powerful techniques today. But I'll be honest with you, a summary can only ever be a map. The real treasure reveals itself when you walk the path yourself. The true magic happens in those quiet moments of practice, when a deep breath opens up new space within you, or when you find a moment of perfect stillness in the shock of cold water. This summary is designed to help you decide if this journey is one you want to take. If anything we've talked about today has sparked a fire of curiosity within you, I encourage you to grab a copy. Reading it isn't just about learning, it's about experiencing a fundamental shift in what you believe you're capable of. The link to the book is in the description. Also, if this journey into the mind of the Iceman has brought you any value, please show your support by hitting that like button and subscribing to Billionaire's Bookshelf. That way, you won't miss our next deep dive into another life-changing book. Let's keep exploring, learning, and growing together.